Welcome back to Beyond Good and Evil. So, with all the pearls that we need, let's go back to Mamago Garage in order to get the last thing that we need.
Whoa, look out below!
Watch out, you're gonna crash! Ah!
I thought you were going to deliberately crash the plane here.
With no survivor. Also, it's a space.
Oh, how convenient. They have a hangar.
Dwebs, you're not the one playing this game.
Coming through.
Yeah, if I played it, if I were the one doing this game, I just crash that thing all the time, and this playthrough would be like 25 parts long because of it.
Whoa, Jade, your shadow seems to be flickering there.
Also, one of the brothers actually was missing. I fear it has been kidnapped.
As new and the installation is included, Jade. Don't let an occasion like this one get away from you.
He's trying to make a good sale, but okay.
You know, while this is going on, one thing that I noticed about my bedroom recently is that I could watch the TV through the reflection on my cupboard.
Congrats, that'll come in handy if ever you have to face Medusa.
or a basilisk.
Is Medusa... Well,
here we come
playing
outer
Chamber of
space.
Secrets. But is Medusa in any of our games coming up?
I don't know,
Kid Icarus Uprising when we get to it.
Yeah, it's time to go to space!
Woo!
We are on something that looks like Starbuck, Red Dwarf, so it's...
Oh, look at that, there's something in a block of ice.
We're surrounded by
Is it the copy of Beyond Good and Evil 2 we've been waiting for?
No, actually it's something else. Let's see if we can manage to hit it enough with the blaster.
Don't tell me. It's something we need to take a picture of.
Oh, it looks like,
Echo the Dolphin? Like...
Maybe.
Is it one of those alien dolphins?
Actually, Jova, well, there's not alien dolphins in Echo Dolphin, but there are time-traveling dolphins.
Time-traveling dolphins?
Oh,
the thing is, there are aliens in Echo the Dolphin, not alien dolphins, though.
Yeah.
What about... Okay. What about, though, the Dreamcast Echo the Dolphin? Weren't those alien dolphins?
That's the thing about the Dreamcast game.
It's like Johnny said it's boring.
Yeah.
Is that the weird 3D bullshit?
Yeah.
Wait, is that a shark?
No, a space whale.
A space whale.
Why am I... Is it alive or is it dead? Also, you're telling me that was on the list. How do people even know about this?
And that's the last animal we needed.
A space whale. Now I've seen everything.
There we go. We'll see. There you go. We got to the end disc with all the photos that we took.
Again, though, is the whale okay? It looked pretty frozen.
It's gonna be fine. Anyway, we need to get to the moon.
Time to hit the highway to the danger zone.
The best one, Jove, is the second game, Echo Tides of Time.
What about Echo Junior?
Oh yeah, Pedro. What about Echo Junior? That's everyone's favorite, ain't it?
Eh.
I actually tried it on one of the PSP Sega collection. It's fair.
I only played the first one, and it just...
There you go, there's the
didn't click with me whatsoever.
The Echo the Dolphin games are a very acquired tastes.
I wouldn't say they were, well, at least not the first one. I mean, I wouldn't say it was bad in any way, but it just really, you said it's an acquired taste, and it just didn't work with me.
The first one, you could argue, does have some pretty bad game design. But to be fair, though, the first one was literally the start of the series, so I can see why there may have been some bad game
early
design.
series installment issues.
The second game, in particular...
The second game, though, was definitely the best introduction you could
improve them. Anyway, let me explain quickly. Basically, what you need to do right now is to infiltrate the base. Unfortunately, due to the force field, you can only do that via land. So you need to park here and use the elevator for that. Continue.
The second game refined things a lot better, fortunately, and it has a lot of creative and varied levels, and again, a very bonkers storyline about Trillia, who's Echo's descendant from the future, who comes to the past so that she can bring him to the future so that he can help her. Let's just say the story is completely insane. Trust me, don't even bother trying to follow it.
It's partially DBZ level, seeing as how it has 2 separate timelines here and there and everything.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
One where Echo created by saving the day in the first game, and another where the evil alien queen is now ruling stuff.
The only major contingency you can probably have is the high difficulty. However, the game does have an invincibility cheat that will mitigate that if you really need it.
And now, time for some H.R. Geiger-esque scenery.
Why am I not surprised? So when do we
Looks
find
like a crystal.
So when do we find the face huggers?
Thankfully, no, we're not. But it still looks rather unsettling.
Sorry.
Although thankfully not as unsettling as that god-awful level in Duke Nukem
Now, since we're
Forever.
keeping with the Zelda comparison, it's time to do a light puzzle.
Okay.
Basically, using these dome's mirror, putting them in a pedestal and everything, we can redirect the beams of light towards them and reflect them properly towards the crystals on the doors in order to open them.
Interesting.
The sad part about that franchise was way ahead of its time in the sense that if it came out today, it would have developed a much bigger fan base, because nowadays there's so many indie games that have similar types of unorthodox game design, and like for example, there's even indie games that kind of take inspiration from the Echo games and stuff like that. So if that game would probably be a lot more successful today, that we have a lot of people who love these kind of weird unorthodox indie style games, and that's basically what Echo is.
Although, to be fair though, while I will say that the first 2 games were kind of put in a bad situation by that, there's no denying Junior and the Dreamcast game are just downright bad games.
Jova, nobody likes
Ain't no one
Junior.
defending those.
Nobody likes Junior and the 3D game, Jova. Only the main two games.
Yeah, I mean, so to its credit, it was kind of a victim of having, at best, 2 good games, and I can see how that would have worn some people out. See, hey, you know what, Sonny? Have you guys heard about that guy who tried to get the series sort of revitalized?
Yeah, with the
some
Kickstarter,
indie?
but it failed. Yeah, again, Johnny mentioned it in his review.
The first 2 games.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh,
I
sorry.
hear you.
So,
Go on.
Light.
I was trying to say the first 2 games were actually successful enough. The first game did get a sequel after all, and they even got that Junior spin-off shit.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Because remember, back then the thing with Sega of America is that they were having this thing where they would literally have the Sega Technical Institute and various other developers basically hammer. Because remember, Nintendo was still going with that particular modus operandi that they had, where they only allowed each publisher to only release 5 games per year for their system, because they wanted to make sure to keep quality control to prevent what happened to the Atari 2600. You know. To force the publishers to only publish the 5 best games they had, you know. But Sega didn't do that. Sega literally allowed a lot of publishers and developers to just, and their own developers to literally hammer Mega Drive owners with a lot of. Okay, let me put it like this: Sega was basically hammering you with B efforts, whereas Nintendo would release an A+ effort per year, basically.
No denying, there were definitely some A+ on the Mega Drive, aka the Sega Genesis. But yeah, there was a lot more interesting stuff. And Echo the Dolphin 1 is one of those cases. Holy cow, that thing could be a horror game to some people of how much it can traumatize you.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of, let's just say, quite interesting and threatening designs for the time.
And the music, holy cow, the music!
Oh, no, the music of Echo the Tides of Time, if you ask me, is one of the more underappreciated Mega Drive soundtracks of all time. The music in Echo 2 is wonderful.
I was actually talking about the first Echo game with how soul-wrenching the music is in that game.
True, that one is good too, but I prefer the second game soundtrack.
Oh, well, kind of goes without saying, pretty much whenever you speak to an Echo the Dolphin fan, most will say Tides of Time be the best.
The thing is, even when I was, because I haven't played the game since I was a child, and yeah, with the difficulty curve,
Hello guys, because we have finally found Paige. And he's suspended there, so we kind of need to pull him out there. Basically,
he's alive, I guess?
Hopefully. We need to use again the light gimmick.
I'll get you.
Basically, we need to light up all the perimeter, the lights around the barrier, so we can, you know, disperse down. Yeah,
Seems
let's
simple
see.
enough.
No. Well, the first one is relatively simple. You just need to put like that around it. But the internal ones get a bit trickier. Imagine if during the Dingodile boss fight in Crash 3 you had to have him destroy the crystals around him in a very specific manner.
Oh.
That would be terrible.
Well, thankfully here we don't have a time limit, nor someone is trying to kill us. It's a more tranquil puzzle. There we go.
So we have to keep the light up there, but also
Basically,
get it on the inner
but we
one.
also need to light up all the gems on the perimeter like that. But anyway, keep going, Pedro. I'll mention this at the end of the puzzle.
For me, it's just like you know how I am. Like I really like weird games that really do something quite unorthodox, as long as they do it well.
Oh snap! That is gonna be
Star of
tricky.
David.
That's the primary reason why I was immediately drawn to A Way Out.
Alright, here we go.
Oh, well, you made it look easy.
I just knew what to do. I actually am skilled in this type of puzzles. Age?
Holy shit! Did he have a scar before?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh no.
He's still alive. You can trick me. I know he's alive.
Oh, maybe not.
Sorry, Pedro, he's actually dead.
Wait, really?
Shit.
Dang.
Oh.
I mean, his eyes are listlessly open there.
Oh, but at least, there you go.
I'll come back for you. I'll bring you back home.
Dang, that is harsh.
I have to say, even though it probably would have impacted a lot better if the whole thing had been finished, I actually have to give props because I absolutely really I get why it happens in some movies like Disney movies, that kind of thing, but I really wish more stories would commit to this type of thing.
Yeah, like, I mean...
I really do.
It really just helped that we at least got to know Paige well enough, because, you know, in a sense, it all does make sense, you know? And he got his time to shine, but, like, dang, he was, in some ways, the comedy relief, but also the shoulder for her to cry on, and it really does sting seeing him dead, like... God
Well, as
dang.
was said earlier on, he was technically her father figure almost.
Yeah, although she called him uncle, yeah, I think.
It does help that he did get to do some cool things, though, especially
But
being
hey
the
guys,
secret
let's
leader
hear
of the
some happy
resistance.
music with the photos of the animals. Here's the photo of
Oh god, a Petra page!
It's like hearing the Yokai Watch theme after Shadow Side. Yay!
Our father figure is dead! Hooray!
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
You said that, Shiroi. And every time you, me, and Teo are watching Yokai Watch or Leighton anime, you keep talking about how Hino needs to start finding different ways of telling stories aside from killing characters.
No, I mean, like, there are other ways to make a family unit miserable rather than ripping away the parental figure.
There's another small, there's another stealth section, but this one is actually very merciful, honestly.
I guess they
Hino
figured...
is Hino goes on a binge with this sort of thing.
I guess it's easy to
Maybe.
because they figured that gamers could use a break after that heart-wrenching scene with Paige.
Did they say anything?
Paige is
Paige is
dead.
dead, Dweebs.
Like, actually dead.
Like, holy cow, he was there suspended in animation and... Oh, dang, Jade's on a warpath.
Like I said, you can do that to the Domes guards,
I
to
know.
the upper section guards.
I know, I just like the headcanon and as her being on a warpath after finding him dead.
You motherfucker!
No, Teo, maybe we could do something like in
You need
Strike
one
Command.
for ya.
in Strike Commando, where we have Jade pick up a machine gun like, sorry, what's that villain's name again? Sorry.
Well, for the context, we need to know for now General Keck. But I just say it's a leader figure for the domes, but we haven't seen properly yet.
Whatever, I'll use it still. Keck! And then she just starts shooting the wall at random, like, Keck! Like Red Brown style.
But why? He's the Mad Dog, he's up to something.
No, that's the shitty Captain America movie.
Could you
But
imagine?
anyway,
the 80s one.
Can you guys imagine if Red?
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
Can you imagine if Red Brown had actually been the Captain America of the MCU?
Hey,
No.
with the whole multiverse thing, they can totally still pull Bear Alvarez if they want.
Oh god.
We just have the decency to not do it.
It's funny seeing as how the first it's funny considering how Captain America First Avenger actually does reference one of the older Captain America movies with the Psych Heil Hitler thing.
Well, Jova, I've seen the special features because I have the Blu-ray plenty of times. They actually do say that when they started making the movie, they looked back at the previous movies and figured out basically as a blueprint for what not to do. Basically.
Anyway, this is
None of
the Great Crypt.
Except for the Psych Heil Hitler thing, they
the
kept
actual
that.
base of the domes. So we're about to sneak in and hear a conversation between General Keck and the leader of the domes, which we'll learn in a second what it specifically is called, I think. Otherwise, I'll just mention it. Here, hold on.
This time.
Hold on.
It's personal.
So, so
It's funny
Let's see.
considering how they just killed the leader of the Iris Network, but do they know that?
Sir, do you hear our...
actually, there's no one
ads
here.
going on?
There's no one here.
There we go. Let's just put down. Let's keep down there, and I think we're about to hear the conversation that we need for the report. There you go. The kidnapped aliens. Oh.
You need me just as much as I need you, Your Excellency.
There he is, the Dome's priest.
Oh, so he needs Hillians as a power source to survive.
Yeah. Again with that name, Shawnee.
Also, aliens sure love to use
Anyway,
human...
that's the final thought that we needed.
Double 8. Hurry up
Wow.
and broadcast the report from the transmitter, and all of Hillis will be with us. The governor will surely be willing to help you.
If she wasn't already.
Shawnee obeys Meta. Shawnee doms the
And ching chong to you, sir.
I gotta say,
So basically our main enemy at the minute is the eye that Black Doom uses instead of the Hedgehog.
Kind of it looks like that.
You know, I gotta say, aliens sure love to use us humans as power sources. Heck, even in like Last Guardian.
I already mentioned this with the fact that the Predator franchise retconned itself because of it. Oh, they mentioned. Oh. The girl is Shawnee. What does this mean?
Dun,
drained of all their
dun,
energy by a
dun.
dumb
More
priest.
for later.
Revolt, citizens! Drive out the Alpha sections.
Aliens,
and
it's
the
time to
Doms.
rise
up. What? Wait
But
a
what
minute.
is exactly Shawnee for the Doms? We'll see. For now, it's time to get back to the transmitter and actually publish the photo properly.
Is Shawnee the nickname of...
It's-
Shawnee what do they call...
No. Remember, Jade used the nickname Shawnee for the photographer, the Iris report. But remember, she heard that name in a vision that she had at the beginning of the game when she was confronted by the Doms. And now she's hearing that same again over and over, you know. But what exactly does that mean? If it's a coincidence, something more, that's for later. Let's just say that the game has a bit more mystery, but it doesn't explain yet. Oh well, we'll come back later for Paige.
Hey, Paige.
I
My page. Also, for this specific section, the game became a bit blurry for its movement. I don't know why.
I guess it's
I'm guessing the rendering.
My headcanon is that it visualizes the teary eyes that Jade has after crying because her uncle is dead. Everything is connected to her being sad over that.
Everybody's dead died.
Yeah.
Artsy.
Wish I'd never let it out in the first place. Yeah, that's something we could do. Red Dwarf.
Again, look at how much this game conveys its emotions better than David Cage can.
Like that's hard.
Again, though, they're both French.
Anyway.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure a rock can emote more than a David Cage character.
Oh.
This
Wait a second.
Eh?
This bottle I got here can emote better.
What the heck? Okay, now things are getting weird.
I'm
What?
sorry, what?
No, that can't be. We literally saw you dead.
Actually, yeah, that mind you, they did not pull a trick on you. Technically speaking, Paige should be dead.
It's an imposter.
Oh.
Either that or she's hallucinating or something.
Wait, why did you say they're very sneaky the what now?
Stench and all. Paige, you were
Dead, I know. But you saved
Eh?
me. You're the one that brought me back.
Yeah, remember, she touched his hand.
I think you are, Jade.
And apparently there's something Jade doesn't know about herself.
Oh.
It's coming to the surface.
Jeez,
You're
Jesus.
starting to understand it.
Paige. The kids, they.
Yes, I know. Kidnapped too. They've taken them to the great.
So what we need to do now is broadcast us. What we need, destroy the barrier around and storm the Great Crypt from the main entrance.
So basically, too, we have to destroy the barrier.
In order to attack the
Pretty much.
Okay. Oh, okay.
The only way of obtaining the support of the Hillians is to follow Nino's plan. Wrap up the report
There we go.
and use the long-range transmitter to broadcast it.
Okay, let's go.
And there we go. We have the complete party of three.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
So
Well, Shiroi, you mentioned this movie. So basically, they did it the Tangled way. where
Never mind.
they kill the Tangled way, where Eugene dies but gets revived by the main character. And like this here.
Yeah. And hell, to be fair, at least they made us think. Well, he was dead, technically. It was
Yeah.
for a while, so...
Again,
He wasn't brought back by crying, so fine.
I think it works also because, like, well, it also ties into some secret power that Jade has that seems to be part of the mystery. Again, sort of like Tangled.
Jade, thanks for coming to my rescue.
You're welcome. So Tio, is there a way to like swap who your co-op partner is on the fly, or are they just automatically now both?
No, now we're back with all of them at once.
So how do you command them to do the super moves like you would with, say, just one of them on board?
You just press triangle and then the nearest one to you does it. Again, they have the same functionality, so...
Okay, so it just matters on who's closest to you.
You must have spent a
Okay.
lot of time on her.
Huh, so now it's pretty much become Kingdom Hearts.
Kinda.
One main playable person and two side protagonists. Although, according to the cut content from TV tropes, there was supposed to be a third, too.
Yeah. Let me... In the meantime, I'll pull up the document that I read in the meantime.
I'll just quote Crash Insanity. Should have been 2 dimensions, but we ran out of time.
Anyway, I'll be sure to put up a link in the description. Like, you can find it on TV Tropes as well, it's linked. Basically, the main structure of the game isn't really changed much. The sequence of events is basically the same. It's just, like we theorize, it's just more meat attached to the bone, more elaborated sequences, stuff like that. The introduction of a third race, and a person that you would, third-party member you would get here just for the final level, which would have been Adoms himself, stating that the Nas, where was the race that was kidnapping them, But if you want to see more, again, you can check the document, which has a sort of more detailed translation of the script of the original draft of the game.
So essentially the third party member would have been one of the enemy, but who's realizes that his side's ways are wrong.
Kinda, sorta. It's a bit more complicated. But again, it's an entire race that was, that was reworked out of this. Anyway, there you go. You also have these free pleasure plays like that.
Thank God we're all alive, otherwise it would have been really awkward to have to drag whoever's lifeless corpse we had to down here.
Oh shit, it's not automated sentry, but...
Oh god. Oh, okay, maybe dodge rolling won't work like that, Shade.
We still managed to do it.
Oh, hey, it's a Death Star.
We just need to take, there you go, these capsule and we'll be getting to the transmitter.
Don't you mean the Star Killer base, Joe?
Maybe. Radio transmitter room. To
That's
make
where we
the
need to go.
ultimate broadcast.
Yeah, we're gonna change
Alright.
the orders and have them
Yeah.
destroy themselves.
That would actually be clever if we could do that.
You have control of the long-range transmitter? That's incredible.
Yeah,
I'll
sure,
work
just
as
give
fast
us the
as I
code.
can. Hang in there.
Please, Miss
give us the
Politician. Also, it figures she has the code for everything, being a politician.
If the population revolts, the Alpha sections will surely try to flee.
Alright, here we go.
It is interesting how they actually save your codes in the red there.
Yeah, even though sometimes you don't really need them.
Transmitter alignment.
There we go.
Set target.
There we go. Should be fine.
Alright,
Okay, enter data.
enter password. Fuck all.
Yeah, you can just pull up the camera like that.
Only you can put the camera in there!
Not recognized.
Oh shit.
Detected system. Locking.
Oh, you
Oh,
gotta be
oh,
kidding
shit.
me.
The controls.
9. 8. No problemos.
And now it's time for Secundo to actually shine for a second.
Ah, actually haven't heard from him in a while.
Is going to show you who is the best.
You're an AI, you better be good.
System blocked.
Oh.
Nice job, Magnifico. More like Secundo, a major screw-up, king of the
Silencio.
Is he speaking Spanish?
Spanish, yeah, Spanish accent.
I can't really hear the accent.
Are you flirting with the security system, sir?
Jova, it's like in Star Wars where they need to have C-3PO mate with the Millennium Falcon AI.
Oh god.
Beautiful Futurama parodied that.
Yeah.
And there we go.
on your planet. With help from those traitors from the
Oh,
our enemy, the Doms, have broken through our protective borders and infiltrated yours.
Right.
Enough is enough. Amigos, señores, señoras, y of course, señoritas. Keep open your eyes, si tutti quanti. I'm not going to be wasting your time with big speeches. I just want to
Just alter, just lip sync to make alter your voice to make it sound like you're speaking as him.
Wooden Nichols.
Oh my god.
There you go, my actual photos displayed on the big screen.
Amazing.
I just realized that Man of Steel ripped this off.
So Zack Snyder is more of a hack than we thought.
I bet you didn't even think that was possible.
Well, it'd also have to be David Goyer and Crystal.
It's not even just it's not even just a matter of him being a hack too. Like he's even an asshole as he showed recently. But anyway.
Give us Barappa! Barappa!
Wow, people are cheering.
Let's trash this monitor for no reason!
la Revolution! Wait, it's a French company, so...
Trust me, dude, this is nothing. In Final Fantasy VIII, there's a sorceress threatening to kill an entire people right in front of them, and the people cheer after she says it.
So basically they're like, yay, we're going to
The kids are still on the Dom's base. We have to go back for them.
For the time being, we'd better evacuate the sector.
Nice strategy,
Oh
soldier,
shit.
but a bit
General Kek has reached the moon as well. Of course there has to be a self-destruction sequence, but it's like fucking Metroid all over again.
I was about to say, somebody took their Metroid notes.
Well, no time to waste, we have barely 90 seconds.
There's no time to waste.
No time to waste. No time to waste. God, I love that remix.
Thankfully, like I said, the timing is relatively generous on your part, so...
Flamethrowers and everything. They fought so
Ow.
kindly for us.
Yeah, great idea, Tio, but it's in the fire.
Tio, you weren't trying to
Yes.
go through the fire and flames now, were you?
Totally. There we go.
Ha! What they didn't expect is that we'd be at least a minute's way away.
Come on, Double H.
The truth has finally been revealed.
Yes, that's good to know. Maybe we should read this as we're escaping.
Hold on, just wait for you.
Have joined forces to drive the Alpha sections out of Hillis. Once again, the honorable journalist of protection.
Yeah, so we just went full Kent Brockman on this.
Wow.
Remember, if you don't remember, the journalist at the beginning of the game was clearly pro-Alpha section.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Yay! Hold on. Hear this line that... yeah. Interestingly enough, this line in the original French script was a more generic one, like, I finally found you or something.
Oh,
The voice actor, General Kek, the English one, actually requested it to be changed like this because it sounded more flavory, and because that's a quote from Alice Through the Looking Glass, actually. So it's an example of the voice actor actually giving in for a more spiced level localization, I guess. That's a nice touch. Anyway, yeah, boss fight, aerial boss fight, actually.
Time to take him down, man to man.
Man, wow, Tio, Red Dwarf got a major
don't you think this ship is more Doctor Who-esque? You know, the one of the General Kek?
the green one is pretty much, it kind of looks like Starbucks.
Oh no, the green one is ours. I mean the one that we're facing, the one with the claws and the lasers.
Maybe a Red Dwarf Doctor Who closet.
Can it even happen?
They used to be both broadcast on the BBC, so...
And they never bother through all the decades to do a crossover?
Well, I remember Red Dwarf was created right near the end of the original Doctor Who's run.
Oh, right.
Then it only really started back up during 2009 and then this decade. And by this point, Doctor Who's kind of really now familiar with people again.
Also, sure, I would argue that the primary idea behind something like, again, we'll use this game, like, it was primarily for the sake of emphasizing the depth of the relationship that Jade has with Paige, rather than just the whole, oh, Paige is dead, try now thing. So I would argue that it's just when it comes to, don't get me wrong, obviously you can kill a character for the sake of drama, that's perfectly fine. However, I would argue that just because you don't kill a character doesn't necessarily mean that you're, popping out and, not being ballsy enough or something like that. Because I would argue
Depends
that...
also on the circumstances and, like, for example, the obvious case of women in refrigerators where you kill a character only for the sake of progressing another character's,
Yeah, that too.
With no real meat or something, or sometimes even a mean-spirited way.
He still got us to the tractor beam. Dude, give up already.
Well, don't worry, we just need to get inside and actually, deactivate manually, which can give us actually an excuse to finally beat the shit out of the
Why
General
is there
Kek.
water on the moon?
Jova, we have played through Puppeteer, there's everything on the moon.
Jova,
Ow.
hydrogen and oxygen, the things you combine to make water, they are present on the moon, I think.
I think it really is.
No, dweebs. But maybe in the mineral of the rocks, dweebs. But we have to remember that also another thing. The moon doesn't have an atmosphere.
Yeah, you need an atmosphere.
It has a way too low gravity for actually having a proper atmosphere.
That's
It's in the rocks.
Figures it has enough atmosphere for actually exist, but not enough for having an atmosphere.
It really is true, though. We're probably gonna have.
Maybe they could refine it if we had like a space station.
That would be nice, but you have to remember that the moon is useful for the Earth with the mass that it has right now. So it's probably not a good thing to actually take chunks of it away.
So basically, what you're saying is, if I just chip a little bit,
snap!
Time for a full roll. Sorry, Glitch, can you repeat that?
So basically, what you're saying, Tio, is if I just chip a tiny little rock away, I can cause the tsunami.
Potentially.
So I'm guessing that these.
So if I take a gun in the Earth and fire it, I'm not just making a hole. I'm killing the planet.
Oh, that movie has got something coming. Anyway, but yeah, I guess this fight is against them is easier than it normally would be since you have all 3 party members now.
Yeah.
But Joe, remember Life is Strange?
Oh, boo-hoo, just die already.
Yeah.
About that. About the pig! Should I tell him?
We've sucked them dry of all their fluids so that we could live longer.
Wait, so were the alphas actually the aliens themselves?
Well, remember, they've been corrupted by the domes, so...
So he's Black Doom?
They're basically...
here mixed a bit with the Khan from Star Trek 2.
Dwarves, have you seen all of Torchwood yet?
No.
Oh, have you seen Children of Earth at least?
No.
And now let's take a commemorative photo.
Aww,
They're basically the aliens from that, I'll just say.
A picture of our victory.
Hashtag Tom suck my dick.
Again, should we have told him that the pig's alive? No, let's let him die thinking he's accomplished.
Let's let him live his fantasy. Well, die his fantasy, I guess.
Alright, time to... Okay, this kid will let me go. Time to actually storm the Dawn's base.
Oh yeah. Now we're really gonna hit the highway to the danger zone. Highway to the...
Well, not exactly, Jova, like I said. Honestly, even if I kind of like the space combat of this game, it reminds me a bit of the old school Gradius, for example. It's not as complex, they say, as combat.
It's kind of like, sure, it's kind of like, I'm going to be vague because this isn't seen that movie.
Sure.
But it's kind of like how in Toy Story 3, where that one fiery thing is about to do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
but it was the primary purpose of that scene was not the whole shock value of death stuff. It was more so the fact that the characters are prepared to die together as a family. You know, it was more so something like that, rather than just like it was character development rather than a proper plot point itself. It was more for the sake of properly emphasizing how far along these characters have come in terms of the relationships they have.
Sure.
Pew pew pew.
Basically, now we have to defend themselves from the Dawns.
Hey, it's about what's going on screen.
The problem is that they're not stopped coming.
Well, it is just us against an entire fleet. I don't know how long we'll be able to hold out.
Well, at least the plot of music is nice. Again, it's my favorite track of the game, the one that's usually at the Doms.
It sounds like something that would fit in Crash Bandicoot, the Wrath of Cortex.
Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot to mention. In some of the tracks, like for example, hold on. There we go, now we can go full
Yay! Okay! The support of the people, which involves a full arsenal of ships. Holy cow.
Thankfully, we're gonna take care of it while we can land instead.
You can't deny the power of the people with this.
Sorry, Pedro, it's Final Fantasy 13-2, the game that has the John Williams rip-off music. Not even kidding.
true, but this can still work.
All right, here we go.
Ominous Latin in the background.
Thanks for everything.
It's made up for the Dons.
The Great Crypt.
Yeah, where we were before.
You have finally come back to
Wait a minute.
you have served
Hold on, Jova.
Oh. For a moment, I thought he was going to say that she's his daughter, actually.
Oh, shit.
They have followed you blind.
What?
Miss Jade, Dorthgal Parker.
Oh,
Oh, it was a trap.
You are not who you think you are.
Oh?
The pig has hidden your origins from
What?
Jade, no! Don't listen to him! You are the source of my power.
And he's dead again.
No, he's just prisoner.
They took you away in the hope of destroying me, but I have survived, feeding me with
I am Black Doom's brother.
Okay.
White Doom.
They made her human.
Actually, Jova, this guy reminds me more of the final boss of Final Fantasy X.
Wait.
You have one.
Well, he's a giant tick too, apparently. Oh, he has a Doctor Strange shield.
Okay, that
Alright,
was weird.
time.
So,
yeah.
Are we gonna
The
explain what the fudge just happened there?
Sorry, Jova.
Shawnee, I am your...
Sorry, Jova. Like I said, this was the thing that I mentioned, the planting seeds for the sequel.
Not just that, Tail. He literally just did the pig. Never told you what happened to your father. Like that's why he literally... No, Shawnee, I am your father.
It's a bit more complicated than that, but before that, basically the boss fight is actually relatively easy to use Double H as a shield and hit the Dawn's Priest like that while you're shielded like that.
So from what I can understand, Jade is not all human. In fact, she may not have started off as a human.
Hold on, they are being, in the meantime, speculate.
Yay, we freed! I guess Paige is under his control.
I think it's more like illusion created by his magic.
Yeah, looks like it, yeah. Oh boy, the sight is trippy.
There we go. Alright, basically, if you pay attention, the Dawn's Priest said that Shawnee supposedly was the source of the Dawn's Priest power, but apparently was subtracted for him and made it in human form. And supposedly the pig, Paige, took her away from the Dawn's Priest. Now remember a second, what happens in the second trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2?
Jade shows up attacking Paige's ship or something?
In an evil form with an edgy katana and controlling an Alpha Section team. It's pretty much understandable that Jade is used as a container from the Dawn's Priest energy, and as a result she was evil, but then Paige took her from that and took her on Illis, where she lost clearly her memory, but the Dawn Priest don't survive, and I'm guessing Beyond Good and Evil 2 will tell about that plot, on how remember Paige said that he knew Jade's father, so it's pretty much clear that it's a story about that.
Wait,
about
so
the
does this mean
prequel
Jade's
to this
father
game.
was the Dawn's Priest?
No. Yeah, man, go get him. No, Jova. It's the thing is that you have to separate things, Jova. Shawnee is the source of energy, and Jade is the person. The Dawn's Priest wants the Shawnee that is in Jade.
I think I get it. It's Xenoblade Chronicles.
And now here's where the fight goes bullshit. Because it's time for Shiro's favorite part, Controllerverse.
Your controls are reversed.
Only no.
Oh, great!
The thing is that not right now. Basically, you need to find more doppelgangers. But the Dawn's Priest will basically activate something. I forget if he like I just. Hold on.
I am garbage at this kind of thing.
Basically, what is an attack that will reverse your controls. You need to guess the part where he's coming and attacking correspondingly.
So how much does it reverse your controls?
It's okay, just turn the controller upside down.
So how much?
Oh, jeez. Dude, wait, LMAO.
And this is where it happens, I'm
There
guessing.
we go, there is where it happens. And now it's all done in slow-mo.
Oh, it's even worse. Anyway, yes, Pedro?
Can you even see something on screen, Shiro?
In that case, Shiro. In that case, Shiro.
No, it's very blurry.
Yeah, it's blurry.
There we go.
Pedro?
In that case, Shiro, if you ever play Ni no Kuni 2, make sure to carry a lot of confused begons, because the way confusion works in Ni no Kuni 2 is your controls are reversed.
Oh.
The thing also is that you have a sort of, second, split second reaction time in order to damage the Dawn's Priest before it attacks you. There we go.
I'll probably be even worse than Pedro, because it's a very, very small and short section of Undertale that does this, and I can't even get that right.
Like that. The eye.
And now, I guess the leader of the Doms should be dead.
Is no more.
And the fog does not help.
So, if I'm guessing correctly, my guess is that what we have is a Xenoblade Chronicles plot, where Shawnee is some being that lingers within Jade.
Yeah, basically. And that's why she has those powers of healing too. And now it's time for the ending. We're very Gainax, honestly.
Oh, goody.
As you will see in a second.
What? So in his final moments, he offers his hands up and...
Now remember, this is like a statue. The actual Dawn's Priest was the bug thing.
So is she controlling the statue now?
Well, she has the power, so...
Kinda learned them quick, but okay.
I am Jesus.
There you go, the other member of Iris, I've managed to also reach the place.
We're gonna need a bigger ship to get all these people home.
Don't worry, they will manage to get home.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll all fit just on the little boat.
Praise the sun!
You see Driver like this mash spirits.
I know, right?
And that's it. Well,
wow, that was a Gainax ending.
I'm telling a lie. The credits show what happens in the sense that we get back home, and there's a post-credit scene. But for now, final thoughts. Who wants to start? Go ahead, Libs.
Yeah, it's definitely a video game, that much. Honestly, though, I mean, the story is potentially interesting, but it's like what Pedro said. At times it does feel like, it's like they cut out the middle bit and just skip right to the end. The gameplay looks fine enough, if a little bit awkward by today's standards. Again, it's from 2003. So, I guess that means it makes it better than a certain other platformer game that involves a lot of jumping that came out that year.
Let me guess. Crash, Wrath of Cortex?
No, Angel of Darkness.
Oh.
I said 2003, not 2001.
Didn't knew that.
But anyway, yeah, that's all I can say really. It's an okay game, and I've got my fingers crossed that Beyond Good and Evil 2 can, improve on some of the flaws that we've addressed during this playthrough.
Alright, Pedro, I guess.
Like I've said, it's really hard for me to even judge this thing as a complete game because it so clearly is not, and we already have the reports confirming that it's so clearly not. So I don't even like the only real when I want to criticize mostly Ubisoft for not giving this game the chance that it needed to succeed. Because there's immense potential in this thing, and when the story does work, it works really, really well. The problem is, because it's so abundantly clear that Michel Ancel was forced to basically skim this down to the bare essentials, we have to basically rush through most of it. Like for example, like the emotional scenes in this thing, in the climax, would work a lot better with better pacing, because the pacing and structure in this game is completely out of whack because, like I've said, structure-wise, this story only has a long first act, and then suddenly the third act comes out of nowhere. We have no second act to speak of. So the pacing in the structure really damaged the impact that the story should have. Because the actual concepts and characters are there and perfectly ready to be put to good use. It's just that, again, like I've said before, I get the feeling I think Michel should have started out with a more simple story, something a bit more simple, so that you can easily tell it in just a few short hours. Because this story is way too much going on for a game that has only not that many cutscenes. Like I said, this game could have benefited from more cutscenes so we could properly flesh out the themes and even have the characters talk a bit more to each other. I know that they talk during the gameplay, but I don't think that's enough. I think we really need some quiet time. Where the characters actually, we have complete focus on the characters talking, it would have helped the story immensely if you ask me. Gameplay-wise, yeah, it looks pretty fun. Again, it looks like pretty much a Jak and Daxter style of game, which is fine by me. And I really like the music; it's pretty good. The graphics, yeah, they look fine. Honestly, I mean, it's not. Personally, I mean, the attempt here was to try to do something. I mean, considering the way Beyond Good and Evil 2 looks, where it looks a bit more, how should I put it? Like realistic. It still and I mean realistic in terms of character design. I mean realistic in terms of the art style.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Paige in Beyond Good and Evil 2, literally, like his skin looks like a real pig skin, but he still has his cartoony design. So again, keeping up with the middle ground between realistic and cartoony. So in terms of achieving that middle ground here for 2003, this is pretty fine. God damn it, Yves, I hate you. Well, remember, it was Yves Guillemot's terrible management of Ubisoft for many years that screwed over a lot of projects over the years of Ubisoft. So, yeah, it's again on its own merits, it's a perfectly fine game, but goddamn, like this could have been so much more. And it's the frustrating part is that I don't even blame the developers, because it's so abundantly clear that they knew what they were doing, but they weren't allowed to do so because okay, I get the feeling. Okay, when in terms of Ubisoft screwing over projects like they do with Child of Light and other stuff over the years. I mean, by all means, tell me if there's a previous victim, but this is 2003, so this was the first victim of what was to come, apparently.
I suppose. Mind you, like I said, there was also the fact that Michel Ancel had to start developing 3D games back before Rayman 2, and there was that game that he did in the meantime called Tonic Trouble, and that was basically just a sort of prototype that was shelled as a retail game, and that as a result was terrible.
A waste of time.
Basically, but Ubisoft still pushed it instead of just having it being the tech demo for Ancel Studio. But I don't know. I guess technically, yeah, these can be considered the first.
It's tragic. It really is.
Warrior Within was not too far from this, I think.
Go figure.
Like I said before, like gameplay-wise, the game still managed to succeed just fine. It's mostly the story that, again, Michel Ancel should have not taken. I think Michel Ancel didn't. He should have only attempted the story like this if he had guarantees from Eves that this game was going to get the proper support. If not, we should have went with a simpler story that would be more easily told in a few short hours. And then maybe if it's successful, then in the sequel, maybe then you can now bring out the big guns. So
I wouldn't
that's
entirely
what
fault him, seeing as how actually he did have a more forward project. But let's not forget how he had to, then start from scratch on that.
Yeah, still though, like considering this was the beginning of the IP, I think a simpler story probably would have been a better bet for the sake of not playing it a bit safe at first, again, just to make sure, just to maximize your success chances. That's probably that was probably the best way to go about this, but whatever. Again, it's quite a tragic and sadly foreshadowing of what was to come Ubisoft-wise in the following years.
It really says something that only starting in 2017 did we start to look at them as a company with more respect than shame.
Yeah, because Ubisoft got to a point where they were genuinely embarrassingly bad.
Why the audience were still recording these right before E3 2019, so we don't know what Ubisoft behavior would be for that conference. I'm mildly optimistic, but we will see. Anyway.
True, but but before that E3, Jova, it got to a point where they were embarrassingly bad.
E3 2016 be a thing, holy cow.
Whatever. The point is, it's a really, really sad casualty. I really hope Beyond Good and Evil 2 finally. I'm not too optimistic because I still don't fully trust Ubisoft, but hopefully Beyond Good and Evil 2 doesn't get screwed over. So here's hoping. Yeah.
Can you imagine how big the fallout would be if it does end up getting screwed over? The game that people have been waiting years for, the one that was kind of headed towards the territory of 7 remakes / Half-Life 3 levels.
They better not.
Gonna happen.
They better not. If not, then what was the point of bringing this back? But anyway, I'm done.
Sure, since we're not too far off from the post-credit.
Well, I'd imagine that. Yes, it is Ubisoft, but I imagine they'd actually, considering how long people have waited, they clearly still are keen enough to push this prequel, shall we say.
No worries about that.
So, I understand where Pedro's coming from, but I have a little more faith than you do. Purely because of the circumstances surrounding any of this. I mean, considering what's been said about how well this one was received, they could have easily just dropped it entirely. They didn't have to.
Yeah.
They didn't have to keep it going.
For comparison, Midway, for Midway, there was Havel Call of the King that I mentioned previously, done by Traveler's Tales. They wanted to make a trilogy out of it, but Midway said just no. And that went nowhere. And when Midway got bankrupt and all these assets were bought by Warner Bros., Warner Bros. Still hasn't done anything about continuing that. And now Travis Tales is just doing Lego games. So it's pretty much a given that franchise is dead for comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
So yes, I do have some faith in Ubisoft for this. As for the game itself, I do like what we've seen of it. I really like the characters. The music is great and very diverse and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The visuals, I do like the visuals. They're kind of, like it's been said before, a mix between the cartoony and realistic kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. I'm not really but it hasn't happened here luckily, but I'm really not keen on the uber realistic visuals we've been getting a lot lately.
Yeah.
Not in the sense that it's oversaturated. I mean, different corners of the market are oversaturated with different things, but I'm just not really a big fan of that kind of anyway.
There you go, the photos show that they managed to get back with the kids and everything.
Yay!
But like Pedro, like it's a shame because this could have been a lot better if it was given the chance it should have had, especially with the story, because a lot of the latter moments were actually still impactful despite everything. But they would have been more so if, again, it had the chance, which it didn't, unfortunately. It's not a Sonic 06 situation by any means, as we discussed.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those cases where I'd rather something be bad than be full of wasted potential.
Yeah, I know how
because
you
it's just
feel.
sad at that point. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but they'll probably do good by the sequel to actually deal with a lot of this stuff.
I mean, even on a practical point, Shiro, the sequel needs to sell, so they need to make sure that it will sell. They have to sell. So
no, I imagine they'll push it quite a bit.
Trying to make it actually good
How
or something.
How funny is it though that a game that got pretty mediocre reception somehow became a game that had one of the most longed-for sequels? Like, how the heck did that happen?
Cult followings happen for different reasons, Joe, over time. Sometimes a product is just not ready for its time, like Pedro also mentioned. This was ahead of its time, technically speaking. It should have been developed a bit later to get the fan base that it needed. Sadly, it was instead in a moment where the collectathon open world platform was starting to get very saturated, and Ubisoft already had other things on the table, and we're just throwing things to a wall and see what it sticked. And this unfortunately didn't at the time. But things have been changing over time, so here's that, I guess.
I'm actually
and I imagine with the resources they have these days, I'm sure they'll be able to do a hell of a lot more with the sequel than they did here. Again, I have faith.
Alright. Before I start, or Jova, whatever, it's time for our stinger.
Oh boy.
I take it Nick Fury's not going to be here.
No, unfortunately.
He's still getting scratched up by a cat, though.
But I think we need it. I think we should need him for what's about to happen.
Paige is gonna be recruited into the Guardians of the Galaxies, and now we're going to see Rocket and Paige having adventures together.
Speaking of...
Hey, that would be cool.
Hello, Paige.
Okay.
You're part of a
Peace
bigger
has
picture
been
than
restored
you
to the land at
realize.
last, young warrior.
Paige? Is everything okay?
What the heck?
Oh.
What?
Oh, that's
Oh,
gross.
What the heck?
It looks like we're not done with the domes yet.
Oh, God.
It looks like...
Let me guess, it's all the Doms' plan B.
Mind you, that was the point that Jade touched.
It looks like that's a dream sequence at the beginning of what the dream within a dream sequence of Star Trek First Contact with Picard.
Anyway, I'll go next. Just to be quick, because I'm mostly in tune with what Pedro said, and also what I said previously. This game just needed to wait a bit before being officially released. It's a shame that things turned out this way. On my own, I can say this, as I noted on the SSMB, the more I play and replay this game for personal reason or for the channel like that, the more I'm enjoying it. It's like a progressive thing that progresses through time. I'm enjoying it more and more. Weirdly enough, because, like I said, it's still technically an incomplete product. There's not a lot of things to do, especially compared to modern open world games where they shower you with things every 5 steps. This one is not as big as others, but I guess it's because of how the characters and the world setting is done and the story is composed, at least the basis, that I really enjoy this. So that's why I also got almost instantly captivated when I played it. The actual remaster itself doesn't even cost that much. It's on Steam, the Xbox 360. It's also compatible with the Xbox One and the PSN, PS3. I'm not sure if you will see like another re-release, maybe for Switch and PS4, maybe for promoting Young Evil 2. We'll see. But as for everything else, that's mind you, when it comes to Ubisoft, I've never been that attached to them at all. Like I played Prince of Persia games, like I said, but for example, I barely touch a Raven game, honestly. Not because I didn't like them, I just wasn't super captivated by them. But this instead was something else. This is something that I generally cared for. And the way it was made, the interactions and everything. Sure, it could have been better, and that's a damn shame. But I'm actually enjoying how the end product turned out to be for what it's worth it at the end of the day. So yeah, here's hoping for the pre-sequel to not screw things up too much, and we'll see for that. Java.
This game has been an interesting journey. When we first started this game, I'll admit, I didn't have the highest of opinions on it. I mean, not in the sense that it was bad, but it felt to me a bit run-of-the-mill. But as the game progressed, I started to see through. It does have a lot of unique intricacies. It has some neat mechanics. And the story. Okay, the story's a bit lopsided. When it's good, holy cow, it is quite possibly some of the best storytelling I've seen in its cutscenes. The problem is when it doesn't feel like it's really going at the story that well. Again, it does feel like the most of the game is one overly long first act, and then the last 2 parts of our playthroughs feel like that third and final act. And don't get me wrong, all of the cutscenes are done well and good. Like, the relationships that we need to know about for the most part are developed well enough. I was pleasantly surprised of how much of an intricate character Double H ended up being. Like, I thought he was just going to be like, a throwaway partner, but no, he actually ended up
That's
being
actually the
somewhat
intention of the game. As we were you're at the beginning, you're like, oh shit, they replaced Paige already, and for this one that I don't really care about. But as the game progresses, your starting to care more and more.
It really is kind of a shame that we couldn't have gotten that third-party member, just to spruce up a bit more with the character relations. But yeah, they definitely did the relationship with Double H well. Again, the writing, I would not say is at fault. The problem is that the writing does not get as much time to shine, or shall I say, it doesn't get the proper pacing to shine because of how much content was cut from the game, sadly. Yeah, there's definitely someone at fault. I will fault Ubisoft for not giving this game the chance it would. Maybe Michel himself might hold some of the blame since, he scrapped the first edition of his game and all the content with it. But I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and maybe assume that he might have had a good idea with it. Granted, maybe that may have had to do with the budget, but again, it wouldn't be the first time Ubisoft unknowingly ended up screwing over one of its own projects. Sad that it is. The music of this game I love. It's diverse, it's rich, and pretty much every soundtrack fits the situation just right. Especially those big, deep, heavy moments. Man, oh man, do they not take any prisoners. They are not giving you any mercy. The visuals, though they've aged quite a bit, they're good. I will give it this. For being part of the PS2/HD trend here and there, it is nice to see a game that wasn't trying to be all realistic. Like, sure, it had realism in it, but it still remembered to, be wacky in some places here and there. So kudos on that. Like I said, the characters are all well, nice and varied. Jade is a pretty good protagonist. I'm gonna say this right now, though. The ending feels lopsided. Like, as in, yeah, when you said it was a Gainax ending to you, you definitely meant it. Like, yeah, it's all nice. Then all of a sudden she's learned how to use her powers to control that statue, I guess. And then nothing. Credits. Like, I don't feel like we really needed to have that kind of ending. And then there's the whole thing with the Doms, but the next game's gonna be a prequel, so we may have to wait till the prequel to take care of that. Ah, well. Again, though, the really touching scenes were done very great. Like the scene where everything feels lost for Jade, but she gets up out of it, or the death scene with Paige. Those were definitely very well done. It's a good game. The problem is that it feels like it was an awesome game brought down to the level of good by all the problems with it, to the point where, yes, it does feel notably incomplete. The problem is that, unlike Crashed Insanity, they can't really make fun of that. That is one thing that will save Crashed Insanity for me, the fact that they constantly poke fun at the fact that they got rushed for it. Helps that that game was awesome still. But yeah, that's this game in a nutshell, essentially. It's like a god that's brought down to the level of mortality here and there. There was definitely some awesome potential, and God, does it hurt seeing that potential getting wasted. But at least I can say I still had a good time. And by that I mean legit good game, not so bad it was good.
Alright then, so I guess we'll see you for, well, if you're watching this, you've probably already seen E3 2019. I hope it's good, past people, or people for the future. But we'll see you for the pre-sequel.
See you then.
See ya.
See ya.